Welcome back to Book View TV, and we're talking this week with Shadows of the Realm author Dionne Lister. That's with an I, Lister. She's written this wonderful fantasy suspense thriller. Now, much like reading works from other fantasy suspense writers, I've had too good a time reading this. So I have to ask, who is your target audience for this work? What sort of age range, and why?
Well, this is a young adult book. It's aimed at kids. Well, I originally thought it would be 13 and up, but I've had younger people read it and quite enjoy it. So probably from 11 to 12 up, because there's an element of horror in there, which I guess different kids handle it differently. But from about 11 and 12 to any age, I've had a lot of adults read it and really enjoy it. But the actual target is young adult. I targeted young adult because I wrote it 9 or 10 years ago, and I didn't want to have to do anything, I shouldn't say too intelligently, but I think my voice can be quite simple sometimes. So I thought it's ideal for teenagers. I'm not trying to get too complicated. And for my first book, I didn't think it would be right to try and get too complicated. I didn't want to trip up. But they're a great audience because if they love it, they really love it, and they're not prone to criticising things. Like books, like they're just happy to escape and to read it and enjoy it. So they're my target audience, and I'm actually going to speak to a school in a couple of weeks. So it's an enjoyable thing to get out there and speak to the kids about it.
Now, this fantasy land that they live in, I mean, I couldn't help but notice certain elements of other books, such as, Tolkien and, of course, the Harry Potter series. You could see Hogwarts on the hill and their assortment of creatures. Where do yours come from, and how does this relate?
I tried to be original. I love animals, and that's why there's animals in my book. And I can't remember what book it was, but many years ago, maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, I read a book that had animal familiars in it, and I really enjoyed that. So I've got them in my book because I like animals. And I tried to create a world that was different. And I haven't actually read Harry Potter, and I know that's naughty, but I haven't read it. So it's not like Harry Potter. I've had it described as similar to David Eddings or Raymond Feist, but I wouldn't say it's exactly the same. Obviously, they're quite experienced, good authors, and I wouldn't compare myself to them. But it's got I tried to write with a bit of humour as well, which people don't always get, but that's okay. So I just tried to write the sort of book I wanted to write, and I wanted it to be different to anything else, which is kind of hard when you're working within a genre because it's all been done before. It's hard to be original, but I've had a lot of good comments about how people felt that the magic system was original. And so, yeah.
You talked a little bit about kids a second ago and going to a school. They are an extraordinarily hard audience to grab and maintain under the best of circumstances. Yet also, it seems as though when I see some of these books and I read them, I feel as though there are adult hooks in there as well. I don't know if that makes any sense, but what is it that makes these the types of things that one could share at all levels?
Well, I didn't write down to kids. I wrote it. I felt like I wrote at my own level. I think there's universal themes in there, like the characters Bronwyn and Blake. They're in their late teens, and it's the first time away from home, and they lack self-confidence. So their ability to be able to fight at the end and beat the Gormans is not just based on what they've learnt, but it's based on how confident they are to do the job ahead. And I think everyone can suffer from that kind of thing. And I've got a wide range of characters. So I've got older characters, younger characters, middle-aged characters, and everyone is valuable.
You talk about the characters and you also talk about, young and old, etc. But there also seems to be a lot of archetypal sort of struggles, the battle between good and evil. Indeed, most good fiction has that struggle. Now, without giving too much away, how does all that manifest in your book?
Well, the Gormans are the distant evil relatives of the dragons, and they were banished to the third realm, which is like hell, over 1,000 years ago, and they've found a way to come back. And without giving anything away, there's a reason they're angry and they want to destroy Tallia. And they find out in the second book, but there is a reason there. And the dragon god Dracon has a lot to do with that. So
Understood, understood. You know, you've mentioned three of the realms. Talk a little bit about the realms and why they're so important in the story.
Well, the first realm is where Tallia exists, and it's kind of like Earth. The second realm is where they get their power from, and that's like a night sky. So it's all black, and everyone is represented in the second realm by a symbol, and everyone's symbol is different. And when you die, your symbol disappears, and they're like stars in the night sky. And then the third realm is, it's a shimmering kind of place. You can't see clearly. There's no food. It's basic survival in this realm, and it's an irritating realm to be in, and that's where the Gormans have been, you know, banished to.
Now, Ziv the dragon works in so many ways because he appears almost human in reaction and thoughts, and I have to be reminded that he's a dragon. How does that humanizing plot device work with creatures such as dragons?
I just always figured dragons they had personalities just like people. I don't know. It just works for me. And that's another thing people like about it, is that I haven't just treated the dragons as mindless beasts. They have their own thoughts. They have their own society. They have the way they do things is the way they do things. And they feel kind of superior because they're dragons. And they get quite offended when people treat them as animals.
One of the things I'm a fan of is Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. Now, who should we look at as the hero here, and why should we care about what happens to them?
Bronwyn and Blake are the heroes. We should care what happens to them because they're young, they're starting out, they've got a lot to learn, and they've not only got to sort of fight their elders for respect, they've got to find that within themselves, which is a real struggle sometimes, especially if you've never been tested before. So they've got uncertainty, and also they're pretty much orphans. So they don't know where they come from. They don't have that sense of knowing who they are. And part of the journey is obviously not just to beat the Gormans, but it's for them to find themselves. So I guess it's a coming of age story as well.
Always an important thing. Now, when we return with part 3 of our interview with Dionne Lister, we'll talk about the challenges of bringing this book to the marketplace when Bookview TV continues. Stay right here.